name is Kate. This is my very first video on my channel, Kreuz Time. This is a start of a Sunday series that I will hopefully be uploading every Sunday called Sunday Kreuz. Just to play off my name. This is going to be topics that I want to talk about, whether it happened to me during the week or what I'm experiencing, or if I even get a recommendation on some topic they want me to cover, or someone has questions in regards to me. So for this very first topic, it's something I'm very excited to announce that I bought a house. It was not a very good, pleasant experience. So today's video is what it's like buying a house right now and the stress of it. So just good news at the end of this story is I was able to be accepted for an offer on a house. We went through the inspection. They did say they were going to fix a couple things I wanted fixed, and then now we're just in the process of me getting fully qualified for my loans, then doing the closing stuff and paying the money, and then closing date should be June 30th. But this process, not fun whatsoever. My recommendations, if you do not need to buy a house right now, I would stay away from the market. The market is ridiculous, stressful, and just outright just ridiculous all around. I am a first-time house buyer, so I don't have any other experience of trying to buy a house at a different point in time. All I have is this experience right now during what's going on with everything right now. But like I said, it's a ridiculous market right now. Not very many houses are going out. In my price range, maybe I would get lucky if maybe 2 would show up every week. Usually it's maybe 1, and then they last a couple days and then they're off the market. With it being so low in inventory of houses being posted, there's just so many people trying to look at houses at once and just not enough for everybody. So it's not the typical market I've seen on like HDTV or what I've heard my sisters experience in the market. So basically it's what my realtor told me what it's called is multiple offer situation, where there are multiple people bidding on one house, putting in bids for houses at once. They said expect it to go over asking price and even waive inspections to try to get to buy a house. It's just that crazy right now. People are putting in $20,000 over asking price and they're not getting it. It could be because they put in an inspection clause in that, or they got better offer, no inspection, or just right below that offer, no inspection, or people are doing cash offers out there right now. I don't get how they can put in cash offers being in the hundreds of thousands range. It's just ridiculous. Now to start off with this, I never actually thought I would get to a point where I would actually want to buy a house. When I was younger, I always told them that I'm content renting. I like not having to take care of a yard, knowing that I have to shovel, knowing that if something goes wrong with the house that I have to pay for it myself. I figured I would be renting the rest of my life, or at best, buying something like a condo, where I pay an HOA fee where they take care of all the lawn maintenance and stuff like that. But luckily with my current job that I've been working at the last few months, I've decided that I'm financially stable enough, have enough in the bank to put 5% down. You know, people are putting 20% stuff down, so not the best percentage down, but at least, you know, I can put 5% down. And then not only that, the real kicker in my butt would be that my rent, if I stay another year at my current place, my rent would go up another $50 a month. And that's over the last year. They also upped $50 a month. So from the last 2 years, you know, it'd be $600 more a year, plus another $600 more a year. And next year, I decided that with what I'm paying, even though it's everything included, it's better for me to actually put down some roots, buy a house, so I have more house, I have yard and stuff, and I can fix it up, put more equity and stuff towards it. My current place is a small 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. Super nice, it's super cute. 10 minutes walk from where I used to work and had to be on site for working. So it was perfect. It was right near the library of the town. And then during winter months or bad weather, it's about 2 to 3 minute walk, depending on how the lights work, to the downtown skyway / what they call a subway system. So I really, in really bad weather and cold weather, only would have to walk a couple minutes outside, and then I'm inside walking through to get to where I work. But with my new job at my new position, I actually work from home. And I found working from home in my 1-bedroom apartment is a little confined space. I honestly work right over here. My work desk is just off to the side here. You just can't see the monitors for that. And then my living room / kitchen area, like my chair that I go sit in to watch TV and play on my personal computer, is literally like 6 feet away. So I go sit there, and then 5 feet away from that is my kitchen. So it's everything in one room, and then bedroom, I try to only use that for sleeping or, other, changing or something like that. So I try to keep actual activity out here, and then sleeping, to try to sleep better, I leave the bedroom as it is. It's just a little too confined. If I have, it's perfect, but a little too confining, and I decided since I would check out trying to find a place. If I don't, then at least my living scenario that I am right now is good enough where I can just say, if I didn't find anything, I'll just stay here another year, which was a good kind of stress relief to not have to know that I have to buy something, but still stressful situation with all the market that it is. So with it being the market it is, maybe 1 or 2, like I said before, 1 or 2 houses might appear every single week. They're on the market for like 2 days, and then they're taking offers that 3rd day, and then at the end of that 3rd day they accept one, and then they take it off the market. It's so you really have to jump on something. It's not sitting there for like a couple weeks, and you have time to go look at a few at once, and then decide if you want to put an offer towards that house. And that's what I was expecting. HGTV, kind of not the best place to do the expectations from, but from viewing from HTV TV shows, I figured it was going to be, you have a bunch of houses you can choose from, so you choose your favorite ones that you want to go physically look at, and then you kind of look at all of them, and then you kind of take a day to decide which one you would rather make an offer on, and then you would make an offer. Sometimes maybe if your market's a little bit more busier, you might put a little higher offer on, or usually you're putting below offer or at market, but you're always doing the inspection. And then they kind of get back to you after a couple days, and then maybe you negotiate. That's what I was expecting. Nope, that is not what's happening. Basically, as soon as you see one on the market, you jump on it that day to try to find, and then you decide if you're going to put a offer in or not, because if you don't put an offer in right away, in the next day or two, it's gone. So you don't even have a choice of seeing others unless you're lucky in that there's others on the market at that time. So with the market the way it was, I really wish my first time home buying wasn't in this kind of scenario, but I did luck out, and I did find a place that I really like. Some kind of things I compromised on, but I figured that was going to be any house I would end up buying, whether or not it's in the perfect buyer's market or not. It would be something in my price range that I would have to just give up on or have to fix myself, because I can't afford to buy these luxury houses. Everything is perfect. Everything is just the way that I want it to be. So I knew I was going to have to kind of give and take some few things. And luckily the house that I found, the give and take that I did, weren't big, huge ticket items. That would be nice. It would really be nice if I had them, but since I don't, it's not a big deal. So to start off with this process, when I started and I put in for pre-approval, there was this nice, beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom twin home in the town that I am currently living in and working in, that I really loved, and looked at what the mortgage would cost and then some of the property taxes and stuff like that, and decided, if I got it for what it was priced at, I would actually be just right where I would be paying for everything right now with my current place. So I decided that, I found this on Edina website, so I would just put in the pre-approval little thing and fill that out. By the time that I got my pre-approval and my loan consultant started talking to me, that house was already gone. And lo and behold, that would be what the market is like as overall. So to start off with, whatever house came on the market that was in my price range, we would go see. And say it was, those houses were too much work, overpriced and too much work, which, unless I was willing to bump my max up by 30,000-40,000, that's what it was going to be like. And these first few houses were just junk houses. They weren't junk, they were just too much of issues to fix, especially at what they were wanting for. There's just too much for me personally, even if they were like $30,000 cheaper for me to try to fix. And they were just too high for what they were. But I remember the first house I was really excited about seeing. It was a little 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, a house that kind of reminded me a little bit of not exact layout of my grandma's, but kind of the same kind of concept of my grandma, where there was an unfinished basement. You had the main floor with a couple of, the kitchen, the living room, and then 2 main floor bedrooms, and then upstairs you had a loft area which would be considered the 3rd bedroom. The size and layout was different than my grandma's, but kind of the same thing, where, situated in the same end. And I was excited because I could see myself ripping up the carpet and putting and finishing the floors and everything like that. And I could tell everything was going to be a lot of work. Like, I would have to scrub down the walls before I painted them. Would probably have to fix some of the stuff and scrub a lot of things down. Though looking at the carpet, it was original carpeting, and I could tell that some of their fixes in the areas was just putting in like another carpet mix, or those little mats you would use in the bathroom on certain probably bad spots that they spilled or did something like that. So I knew the carpet was going to be in bad condition. I just didn't realize how bad of conditions things were going to be there. By looking at pictures, they just looked like it was grungy, and just a couple washes, everything would be perfect. Everything looks it looked like they did not take care of things very well. Things were dirtied, they didn't wash their floorboards. Again, the carpet was original. I swear it looked like it was original from the way it looked and everything, and how unwell it was kept, that I was scared of what was going to be the floor situation afterwards, because I knew there was probably going to be floors of when it was built and stuff like that. And they did have one bedroom where they ripped up the floor, and they have hardwood, so I'm assuming all the hardwood is underneath there. But I was worried with how little care they took care of things, how much was going to be stained underneath, because with their patchwork of fixing a bad area was just putting another thing on top of it. So who knows how much staining and stuff I wouldn't be able to get out, no matter how much I sanded it, and stuff like that. And then what was really just too much was the stairs up to the loft area. I was super excited for that, even though it was full of wood paneling and everything like that. I had plans and ideas and stuff, because as soon as I see something, I go into scenarios around in my head of what I can do and what I can't do and stuff like that. So I had plans, so I was already really attached to this house. So it was really sad when I found out the stairs to the upstairs to the second floor was break your neck kind of stairs. They were so thin, not very wide. I couldn't even fit my whole foot on it. I had to do the balls of my feet all the way up, and then I got to the last 3, and they were like tippy toes, put your tiptoes on them kind of stairs. And there was no way, because I was going to make that loft area into my master bedroom eventually when I finish everything up. And there's no way I wouldn't break my neck going downstairs to the main floor where the one bathroom is, when I would have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And then not only that, they just didn't take care of anything. There was molds in places. The basement was a nice surprise about the size of it. And it was nice that they had like a sink down there and stuff like that, which was going to be nice if I did projects and stuff, I could use that sink to rinse off my paintbrushes and stuff like that. But it was kind of like a metal sink, and like the counters were like metal and stuff, everything like made of metal, and I could tell that there was just mold on it. And the washer, instead of it going into like the piping system for like the drainage or something like that, they had the tube go all the way to where the floor drain is, but it just laid on top of where the floor drain is, and you can see the water stains of how high the water would go during the wash cycles and the water being dumped out. You know, obviously that drain couldn't drain everything at once, so it would back up, and you could just see that, and you just know that that would just collect mold and disgust like that. And then the house we saw after that, it's a lesson learned, because obviously I didn't try to buy it without looking at it, but do not listen to what they put online. Go and see a place, and then you'll be able to get a feel of actually what it's like, because the second house we went to go see was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, more than enough house for me, and then a basement. But online it said, you know, the current owners use this place as a well-kept B&B. So I'm like, oh, well, if they're keeping it as a B&B where people come and live in, you know, it must be in decent enough condition. And I was excited because it had a front porch, which was handicap accessible, so it had a ramp with it, so that took up a lot of the front lawn. But it, you know, had a front porch, and then a little low-key back porch patio thing. It was a porch, but it was more like a patio. It didn't have any railings or anything like that. And then it had a yard, and then it had a detached garage, so I was excited about that one. And even more excited was the bathroom. It had the shower, and then it also had a big soaker tub, so I was really excited about that. So I was really disappointed when we got there how horrible a condition it was. I could tell you, walking on the front porch trying to get up, I was surprised it didn't cave in, because when you walk it, you could just feel how squishy it was. It was just in such bad condition. Even at the front where the ramp started, their makeshift solution to the degrading condition of the porch was just put a wooden plank, like a wooden plank board over top, and you just walk, and you could just tell it was just in horrible condition and everything like that. And then you go in, and the kitchen itself is nice. They definitely redid that. Some of the stuff, you know, was on the cheaper end, but that's fine with the floors. And then the small living room right next to it, fine enough condition. And then I went into the bathroom, perfect enough condition. But the funny thing with that soaker tub was, super excited for that, because my dream is to have a tub where I can actually soak it instead of it only going barely past my thighs. Was that it had a seat, you know, where you could sit in and then put your feet in over on the back side of it. But it was really funny because it had the indentation, like it was meant to be this way. It was part of the design of it. But the spot where you would sit, it mirrors the butt, so it's indentation of where you sit, and I'm just sitting there looking at it, but I'm like, oh, that's fine, it's a soaker tub, it's what I want. I'll do the little makeshift seats for your bottom. But the rest of, you know, those 3 areas were okay in well enough condition. And then you got into the actual hallway in the back that takes you to the 2 bedrooms. The second bedroom really isn't a bedroom that I would consider it, because it has the back door to it, which is kind of ridiculous. But I'm also like, well, I'm using that as I'm gonna use it as an office to do stuff in, so it's okay that it has the back door. But they had like the linoleum, not tiles, but like the linoleum panel sheets that you glue down. They had that in the hallways and everywhere else, and it was coming up. So basically, you know, you're walking on linoleum that's, you know, sticking up, so you step and you feel it go down and then lift it back up. And then not only that, is my dad came with me on this one, also with my mom. He does not know how that garage was not condemned. It was in such bad condition. everything on the outside was in such bad condition. He just doesn't know how things weren't condemned and stuff by the city. So with that price and what would need to be done, and it was off a busy road, so being outside trying to garden or just trying to relax on that back patio was a no-go with just the sound. When you got into the actual place, the sound was muffled and you couldn't even tell. But I'm annoyed enough that I can't even open up my window over here to have it open during the day when I'm on the phone because a car keeps going by, that I'm not going to live in a place where I can't even go outside and relax. And that's one of the reasons why I want a house, is to be able to go outside and relax on my breaks or after work. That I can't do that because there's even more car noises than where I'm at currently. So that was a no-go. And then a third house, I should have known, but it had not having any pictures. Well, they had a few pictures, but not actually posting pictures of every single room, and then maybe missing like the basement or something, or the garage, you know, that kind of pictures not there is acceptable. But this one had like 3 pictures. It had a couple pictures of the kitchen area, and then a couple pictures of the main living area, and that's it. But I was excited to see it because what I saw, it didn't look like it was too bad condition, even though I thought I saw warping on one of the living room pictures, but I thought maybe it was just, you know, the picture itself. It just didn't take, you know, a good picture. And then my realtor even had me suggested I go drive by the place to make sure I like the area, because I think she knew what was going on with not very many pictures posted. But everything looked fine and everything like that. Which my realtor ended up saying the reason why everything looks good around that area, even that house on the outside, is because people took the time and redid their outside sidings. So even though everything looks new on the outside in that area, everything is still the old house on the inside, where you're going to have a lot of money paying for heating, trying to keep it cool. Not only when you actually went and looked at this place, they had some weird back end. I don't know if they were trying to put it like a attached shed at the back of it or something, but basically almost the whole lot was the house, and then you had a very small strip on back for the actual yard, which is very disappointing. Not what I want. I don't need a big yard, but I at least want some yard that I can do some of the stuff I want to do with. But it was just some decrepit shed that they were trying to had attached to the back of it at some point, and it was falling down. And then you go in, and I was right. The first floor it's just warped. And there's no, you know, that was the deal breaker in and of just seeing that, because of what it was priced at and what money I have in the bank and would have afterwards. There's no way I can deal with uneven floor, especially that the floor went like this. It wasn't even like just slanted a little bit on one end. It was warped. It was warped really bad. And then the first floor bathroom would be a total gut and redo, which I don't have the money to just do that to start with. And it was just in bad condition, and my realtor kind of guessed that was going to be the case, that this was probably a seller that was just trying to sell it as fast as they could to make some profit, and just got a realtor that would, a cheapest realtor they could find, and they just posted a few pictures and tried to fix anything up, you know, even paint anything, and, you know, not much work put into it to actually at least look it more presentable kind of thing. So that was, you know, a little disappointing. And then I can't remember if I saw any more houses between this and then the 3 houses that I actually tried to, 3 houses, ultimately the last one, trying to put in offers in. But I finally got to a place where I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to look at every single house that comes on the market like I was. I'm going to start actually looking, you know, look at houses that I would actually look good in the price, and I upped what I was going to be looking at because my realtor was getting on my case. Which, again, the realtor, if you do watch this, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that you did this. I'm just saying, you know, you were wonderful, and I love you for everything you've done for me. But she was getting on my case about how much I was expecting to pay and what to get on that. And she said, you're really going to have to increase your max budget on this, because there's no way you're going to find a house in the house price range that you want, unless you want to go with a condo or a townhouse. Oh, which reminds me, in between that, since when she brought that up, before I looked at the other 3 houses that I ended up putting offers with, we did go look at a condo. And it was a condo that I actually had an eye on when I started this process. I just didn't want to you know, buy a condo, even though I said, you know, when I was younger that if I would buy a place it would be a condo. It's just I'm sick of sharing walls. And right now I'm luckily on a 4th floor, so I don't hear anybody above me, but I feel bad for when I'm walking around. I'm not the, you know, I'm very heavy-handed with everything. I drop a lot of stuff that I feel really bad for the people below me, that I didn't want to deal with being on the 1st floor or 2nd floor and having people above me and having people below me and having people on this side and having somebody on the other side, and then hearing Thursday night people go out and run around and go drinking and then come back and then stuff like that. It's just not something that I decided if I was going to buy, that I'm going to buy something that I don't have to deal with that kind of stuff, because I'm putting that money in, I might as well, you know, get an actual house and stuff that I can live with, and then instead of buying a condo that maybe not, you know, can sit in the market a lot more than an actual house. So I didn't want to deal with that, because I'm sure in a few years I would want to move out of a condo and actually get a house. So I decided I would go towards a house. But since she did put that up, so I'm like, fine, we'll go look at the condo one, that one I was interested in. Because it did have an attached three-season porch on this one, and then had 2 bedrooms and stuff like that. So she set up that, but that night she set up a viewing for the next day when I said I wanted to look at it. So I did more research on that one condo and those condo buildings, and I found out that a couple years ago they had some really issues with some rot and stuff and speckle coming off on the outside, and end up being because of these units years ago making their porch or balcony into a 3-season porch or balcony. That structure of that building wasn't made to have these enclosed spaces, and so that was trapping water inside, which was causing these issues. So nobody else from going forward of that inspection could make their porch or patio, porch or balcony into an enclosed one, and they would actually offer the people that have it enclosed that they would pay for the work to make it back to what it originally was. And then after that work was completed, the people that left it the way they were with it enclosed, if anything happened with the inside like they did with the outside, causing mold and degradation of like the wood and stuff, that those units that had the enclosed porches and balconies would be liable for the cost of any outside damage that was deemed because of their area being enclosed. So mine was looking at was the enclosed one. I didn't want to have to deal with that, but I'm like, well, let's go see and look at it and stuff like that, because it sounds like if I wanted to redo it as a regular patio, that these building people would pay for it. But it ended up being it was a nice place, but it ended up being a very, what's the right word on the inside? When you go into it, it feels much like, I'm gonna call it like a prison. Just everything white, really hard, like how do you navigate this, take twists and turns, and no rhyme or reason of where it was. So we just kept going through. I'm like, let's go through this next door and see if it's our current on this one. Nope, let's go through this door. And then we finally found the apartment or condo to look at, and it just wasn't very, it was nice for what it was. It just, since I didn't want to live in a condo, it just didn't wow me. And then not only that, the washer and dryer, you couldn't have a washer and dryer in unit. It didn't have any space for any hookups, so you would use one for the floor, and that floor only had one washer and one dryer that you had to pay for, but only one for all, I think maybe there was like 5 units on the floor, I'm not sure, but just only one that you had to pay for with quarters. And I'm like, no, I ain't having that. I am super into having my washer and dryer be in my unit if I'm getting a condo, because my apartment right now, I'm totally spoiled. I have it in unit, I don't have to pay for it, and it's nice, and I'm very good at forgetting things in the dryer, so it's nice that 2 days later I'm like, oh, I still have my towels in the dryer, that I don't have to worry about that. And then not only that, the dishwasher, then the condo did have a dishwasher, but I'm also super spoiled with the dishwasher now, so I don't want to go without a dishwasher. So, you know, I tried the condo, looked at the condo just to kind of appease my realtor, and I'm like, no, fine, up my budget and we'll try looking at more expensive places. Since technically I can afford it, I just didn't want to do it because it would end up being more than what I would end up paying for my house apartment here. But I'm like, fine, we'll up it. And then the next 3 houses I looked at were actually houses I wanted to put offers on. The first one was a nice little 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. Very kind of small house. Ended up square footage wise, ended up being maybe just a little bit more than the house I ended up with. But it was situated on 2 floors and then an unfinished basement and then an attached garage. And then the person that owned it put in a really nice just patio area, just kind of put those rocks, or those decorative patio rocks and whatever, so it wasn't made of cement or wood or anything, but it was super nice. She made a little patio area that's on the other side of the attached garage, and then what really nice she did was she put up these barrier things with the wooden things that had the wood panels going diagonally and that way, so you could still see through them to get some light. And then she planted these plants that would crawl up them and bloom during the summer to get even more protected from anybody trying to view it, but still very open. And it was really nice, and I loved that about it. And I loved that it had a little small basement that was very clean and everything looked very well kept up. The only sad thing was it didn't have a dishwasher, which I compromised on that if I would end up getting it, because I could just buy a portable one that I could pull over to my sink, attach it, and pull it back. But everything was done. The current owner, did fresh painting. She redid, she didn't do new cabinets, but she refinished the cabinet. She put butcher block nice in there, and everything was nicely done, well maintained. Only downside is that attached garage was really small, like it would just fit my little 4-door car, which was kind of sad because I would want to do maybe some projects out there, but then if I did that I could just back out the car and stuff like that. And then I had the basement for storage, so it's not like I needed to use the garage as any storage, but it would kind of stink trying to put a lawnmower in there. But I could always decide that I could always put a shed back in the back corner of the lot. So I went and looked at that. They had an open house. Loved it, loved everything they did. And what was nice was, even though the second floor carried the 2 bedrooms and the bathroom, because most of the houses in the current area that we live, the second floor is more of like it's not a full second floor, it's still dormered, so it's more like an attic area that they make into a second floor. And that's just like the way a lot of like the older buildings in this area is. It's so you just expect it to be dormered, just so you just have like little space where you can actually stand up. What was nice about this one was this one was more like an actual second floor. Like the 2 bedrooms had a little bit of the roof coming in, but it was just in the corners, but the rest then were full standing. So, I wasn't, going part of the room where I would have to go this way or that way. It was just one little corner area, which was fine. But I didn't even get to make an offer on that place. So they had an open house on Thursday. Then Friday they had private showings. I think that lasted like half an hour slots. I'm not quite sure, since I just went to the open house. And then Saturday they were taking offers till I think in the afternoon, and then the seller was going to take a look at the offers that afternoon and then decide, and then let everybody know, I think, on that Sunday. So the realtor and I were going to get in contact on that Saturday morning after she checked with the seller realtor, just to kind of see how many offers are currently in, to kind of make a game plan on what I was going to offer, if I was going to do an inspection, because people are waiving inspections left and right in this market right now, and whether or not I was going to ask for an inspection, was I going to give them whatever closing date they wanted, because to make it more pliable, I was just going to give them whatever closing rate, even if I had to do 2 months of paying rent here and then my mortgage there to try to get the place and stuff. But when my realtor texted me that Saturday morning saying sorry, seller realtor just came back to me. They were given a cash offer and they're not looking at anything else. They're just going to take that cash offer because it was strong enough. And then me just sitting there, I'm like, who has that kind of money to just put in a cash offer? It's really sad. I cried a little bit. But luckily, on that Friday, realtor and I saw a different place that I was going to put an offer in if I didn't get this small house. So that was, let me see, I think it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom that they consider the basement finished because they just put in some vinyl planking. I don't think they leveled it very well by walking on it, but it was a basement that was nice. The basement had the second bathroom. Totally creepy bathroom, needed to be gutted and redone, but it was at least a bathroom that I could eventually finish. And then they had the first floor bathroom that I could use in the meantime, so it's not a bathroom that I had to work on right then and there. And then it was nice because they had original hardwood that I could refinish, and then the 3rd bedroom was upstairs and it was a little bit more bigger downward, so I at least had some room to walk around the bed and stuff like that. But it was going to be one that was going to be a lot of work because the cabinets were in good condition, but they really needed to be refinished. And stuff like that just needed to be updated. Upstairs in that 2nd floor in the loft area, my realtor thinks they did this to try to get more light into their actual master bedroom. But on the wall, right next to the door that went into their master bedroom, they made an indoor window. It literally opened and you literally could close it, and then it literally had a window you could open and close. And then not only that, they have bright different colors up there that I would want to repaint, but it was in good condition and everything was in good condition and would just need to work on some stuff. And then it was a nice big, I believe it was two-car garage, not like a 1.5, but it was a nice big garage that I could store stuff in. I didn't have to worry about, if my lawnmower was gonna fit, and I could put big shelves in and stuff like that. And then I had a big backyard that I could do what I wanted. I could put in my above level garden that I wanted to put in. I could do, if I wanted to get into composting, I could way back in the backside I could put a compost in that I was looking into, watching videos on after I saw that lawn that I was super excited for. So for that one, we put our offer in on Sunday, and then Monday they were going to get back to tell you if you got it or didn't accept the offer. So to make it more appeasable, we did whatever closing date they wanted, they could have it. I waived the inspection. We did, I think, $20,000 over asking price, and everything like that. No, offer wasn't accepted. It was just heartbreaking. Because, like I said, when I look at pictures, I get ideas of, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and have a time frame of stuff, and I was super invested in it, and I didn't get it. So it's just heartbreaking. So at that point, I decided to expand my actual search to towns around the town that I currently live in. Because, like I said, I work from home. I don't have to live 10 minutes away from the main campus of the company I work for. I just would want to be within an acceptable time frame with working from home. If my internet went out, we had a nice policy of you get 2 hours of pay of the internet getting fixed or something like that, and after that you would either take PTO or you would have to come into the office. So I wanted to be in an acceptable kind of driving time frame in case that happened. Luckily that hasn't happened yet, knock on wood. So I decided, half an hour is good enough. And then there was this 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom twin home in the small town that's in between where the city I live now and where my parents live that I looked at before, but kind of just brushed it off because it was in a different city that, I'll look at it as my kind of more of a last resort or something. And I decided that, it's time to actually look at it. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. It is a twin home, so you do share one wall, but it's a twin home where it's, the wall you share is your garage. So technically you have 3 walls in between of where you're actually living. And I believe when it comes to garage walls, they're more insulated because they have to do that fire panel, be more fire resistant. So I think they're more heavy duty than the walls, like I say, in between the current apartments. So I could be wrong with that. So my thought is it's even less likely to hear anything because the walls are going to be a little bit thicker and more well taken care of, not so thin. And then not only that is the backyard, just a little sliver. Most of my yard is going to be on the side. My backyard neighbor feels closer than my twin home other side neighbor does. And not only that, it's an attached garage, which is super nice. It also looked like I would actually have some room, like if I parked over on the side, I would have some room to have some, to put in like some shelving to do some storage, because this twin home is a concrete block or cement block or whatever slab you call it. So I wouldn't have a basement to put any storage in, which is one of the compromises, was no basement, which was fine. But I have a nice vaulted ceiling when it comes to the living room and the kitchen area that's open concept. It's super nice. There's a roof window, I forget what they're called, which brings in some more light, which would cause potential more leaking issues than not having that window in there, but it's super nice to have. The yard is a little bit smaller, but it's less tax that I would have to pay for it. And it was just built in 2001, so the structure itself, I felt would be a lot more sustainable, and not sustainable, longevity. It would be, going forward, would be a lot better than a home from like 1930s. But being it from 2001, all appliances and utility and stuff like that is all original from 2001, so they're all end of life. But I knew that was going to happen. And this twin house has been on the market for over half a year, which my realtor was kind of trying to talk me out of going to see it, because she's like, it's been half a year, that usually means something's wrong with it. And I think there are maybe three things that kind of contribute to that. One of them, the seller realtor that was there that showed us around, since my realtor couldn't make that drive because she had an issue with her foot, so she couldn't keep it down that long. So no one's ever brought that up, so I don't see how, that's not an issue. The issue was that when they first put it up half a year ago, they really put it way too high for what it was. Because twin houses obviously sell cheaper than the equivalent of a 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom house unattached. But they put it extremely high, and they lowered it down to where it wasn't when I put an offer on it, and the realtor was like, it's because of that. But really, I think it's because it was the twin house, and as priced as it was high, and then when it was down more of an acceptable range, it's been half a year. So, like my realtor is trying to talk me out of seeing it, that I'm sure a lot of people who see it, like half a year, there's probably something wrong with it. Let's not even look at it. Second is, it was right in front of a manufacturing plant thing. I had a big silver silos right in front. That's not something you want to look out your front window and just see this big silver steel just going up. That's all you can see. It was some kind of like dispensary plant, so where they had a nice little silo on the side, so something would get underneath it, they would fill it up, and then they would leave and stuff like that. And then my dad was worried a little bit about that, because he knows on the way it was in my hometown, the area that has the kind of places, semis are just lined up blocks and blocks to get filled up and leave. So he was worried it was going to be kind of like that, and I would smell diesel just a whole day through when it came to in season. But what's nice about this place is it's privately owned, so it is going to be busier in some time of years than others. But since it's privately owned, it's not going to be as backed up as it would be for a public one, like in my hometown. But of course, we're going off of what the seller says, so we'll have to wait and see. But the seller said they've never had issues with that kind of smells or it being too much. And then I think the third issue of why people probably didn't actually end up doing offers is, again, I said it was 2001 was this place was built, and from what I can tell, nothing's going to be replaced. So when you go and look at the utility room, all of that is like 20 years old, so it's all getting to the end of life. They're eventually going to need to be replaced soon-ish. And then not only that is the furnace, water heater is all rusted at the bottom of it. I'm not sure if it's from leaking of the water heater, or if it was the drip off, or there's some kind of drip off of the other units, because they're all situated in one. And then not only that, but you know, the stove, the dishwasher is all 2001. You can kind of tell they're in bad shape, but they work. But I decided that I like this place enough that I would put an offer in it, and I knew that there were going to be some issues coming forward in the next few years that I would have to fix right away. So when we put the offer in, we put it on contingent for inspection, because there's no way I was going to do that place without inspection. We did $9,500 below asking price, because I felt that was more, even less than that was probably what it was worth with how much stuff that needs to be replaced. And we decided to do June 30th closing costs, give myself a month of overlap so I can do some stuff fixing up before I moved in, because the place was covered in wallpaper, which my dad enjoyed. He liked the wallpaper, but I did not like the wallpaper. It was very good conditioned wallpaper, but it was just too much. So I wanted to do a few things to get fixed before I moved in. So I was okay with overlapping a month, especially since I figured the sellers really wanted to sell it as soon as they can, but give the current tenants, because they've been, I think, at least 10 years, they've been using that place as a rental, so giving the tenants enough time to be able to move and find a new place. So we put that offer in. It was accepted within 24 hours. I was super excited about that. And then the end of that next week that came in, I had the inspection. The inspection was not cheap, $640. $100 of that dollars was just the driving expense of the inspector having to go there. So he charged me $50 for each trip, because he had to go and put on the radon detector one day and then come back two days later to get the radon reading and then to do the actual inspection. So it was $50 just for him to go put the radon, and then the next $50 for him to travel for the actual inspection radon. So sorry about that, $100 just for him to drive, which I understand. It was a half an hour drive, but still $50, $100. Just kind of sad. But it was well worth it, because there were issues where I thought, the water heater really needed to be replaced right away because of the damage underneath. There were the siding renewal. There was some stuff that needed to be repaired, and then a lot of the stuff is end of life that would eventually need to be replaced. That working, but eventually would need to be replaced. Radon was good. Average was 2.5. So well within the acceptable 4 and below. And really it stayed around that 2.5. There was, I think, one spike up to 4.0 for a couple hours, which kind of scared me. But since the rest was really far well below that, I'm not too worried about that. That could be something maybe, I don't know. But there was a spike up to 4 that lasted a couple hours that concerned me, but I decided not to worry too much about it since the average was 2.5, and that was the only spike that got even that high. The rest were well by the 2.5. And then, said the AC needed to be cleaned, and that's what my dad and realtor said. Look at the AC has never been cleaned. So, some of the stuff was stuff I was expecting. Then there was some stuff that I didn't even know. Stuff that piles up and stuff like that, which makes me very thankful for having it. One is the gas line. The gas line was not grounded, and it was metal on metal for the gas line, so it had to be insulated against for clearance enough and insulated, which really surprises me of how this was a rental property and this was not secure. This makes me feel like maybe it's just the way mine is right now with my current rental. Is every 6 months somebody comes and inspects my air conditioner furnace unit in here, and to make sure everything's good and everything like that. That makes me think that when it's a rental property you need to have inspections every once in a while, but I guess not. So that's very concerning. That could be a potential big hazard. And then I didn't realize there is a lint actual tube behind your dryer. I just figured your lint is the thing you take off every once in a while and you clean out and you throw it away. But there's, an actual lint tube. And that's used material that really shouldn't be used, even if it's electronic. I don't know what it's called, but it's the one you can, like a xylophone, it can be spread out and moved all the way around, and that really shouldn't be used because A, it's very flammable, and 2, it's very easily kinked, which the one currently at the place is kinked. And then not only that, the washer line goes over top of it and makes it kinked even more because it's heavy line onto something that's very pliable. So he recommends that be replaced right away with a full metal one, that can be flexible, but it's full metal. It's not like the slinky kind and stuff like that. And so that's something I will do right away before I move in, is try to get that fixed on my own and stuff like that. And then there comes the floor vents, which still is amazes me how much stuff can get in there, even though there's a floor vent protector. But there has not been any animals living in the place for 10 years, but in the floor vents, it's basically full of dog food and cat food and other stuff. And I'm like, how did that even, it's like big chunks. I'm like, how does that even get through the vent that has a protector of it? But he also recommended that get professionally cleaned, because that can cause efficiencies with heating and air conditioning and stuff like that, so it costs you more money to keep it at the same. And then some other minor stuff that should get fixed right away that I can fix myself. One being the little sensor for the garage is too high for recommendations and should be lower to the ground, which I will do myself. So we went back to the cellar to fix a couple of the high ends. The water heater, because if that's rusted, it really should be. The gas line, which should really be taken care of. And then just professionally cleaning out the vents. And they agreed to do that. So now we're on the phase of me getting fully approved and locked into my interest rate for my mortgage. And then when all that goes through, I should be closing June 3rd, and then I'll use that month of July to kind of fix up a couple things and then move in slowly. And then that's it. And then I have to be out of this place that I'm currently at by the last day of July. So that should give me plenty of time to move and everything like that. And then not have to move everything at once, which will be nice because my parents will help me, but they will only, I plan to move everything that I can myself, and then that way they only have to move items that A, doesn't fit in my car, or B, is just too heavy for me to carry, like my bed or my couch and my chair and stuff like that, which I'm super appreciative of everything they've done for me and helping me look at stuff and everything like that. So basically, to recap, it's super stressful the way everything is right now. Obviously, if you have to buy a house, you have to buy a house. If it's a good market to sell in. So if you definitely want to sell, it's definitely a good market. The only thing to be with selling is you have to buy a house in this market too. So like you can just, if you're gonna sell and then rent, that's something different. But honestly, even with the low interest rates, everything is being hiked up and everything is doing above asking prices, and people are raving, especially in the craziness of it. So the low interest rate and then everything being so much expensive, it kind of, to me, feels like it equals out to what it would be if it was just a normal scenario. So definitely not a market that I ever want to deal with. If my current place that I was able to go through with didn't go through, I was done. I only spent about a month in this market, and I was already stressed enough as it is, where if this current place I got bust, didn't go through or bust somehow with everything else, I'm done. I am done for the year. I will just take that $50 increase in my current place and just hold off on it. It's too much. But that's my thoughts and my experience with it. But like I said, take that as a grain of salt. I'm first time home buyer, so this is the only market I've ever been in. So I don't even know what it's like when it was normal. But I appreciate you getting all the way through. If you've only watched a couple minutes or you made it all the way through, I so appreciate you sticking through and listening to my story. I will post again next week in regards to a different topic, or if you want me to go further into this topic, I can go into that too, either next time or some other time. Especially, I will be getting back into it as we get closer to my closing date, and along with moving in and everything like that, and how all that process goes. And I'm sure I'm a lot more relaxed than what it was, but still stressful, and waiting for my mortgage to be approved and get locked in, and then the closing date, and then I only did 5% because I'm very proud of what I saved in my savings, but it's that 5% is gonna wipe out a lot of everything in my savings. So that's going to be a stressful situation, which I'm going to talk about, because I'm trying to get some more income in to try to offset that, since I have my summer classes, because I decided to go back last fall to get my 4-year degree. I have my summer classes and fall classes to pay for that I really need to save up for, that I really don't have my savings to dip into anymore. So we'll probably discuss what I'm using to try to make some extra money for that next time. But again, thank you all for even watching even a minute of this. If an extra thank you for watching all of it. If you could like and subscribe, that would greatly help me so much. I would appreciate that, to keep on doing content that I want, because we're not just going to do weekly vlogs. We're going to do some other stuff, especially once I move into my place. I'm going to do videos of me redoing, repainting, renovating some stuff. My renovations to start with are going to be more like repainting my cabinets and stuff like that, redoing my trim, staining my doors a beautiful deep dark wood that I want to stain them as, and stuff like that. But please like and subscribe. That will greatly help me out to continue to do this. But otherwise, I hope you have a nice evening for your Sunday and a nice week. Thanks.